So I thought to introduce you to this work, I would give you some verbal program notes. So this work, Glorious Nothings, is a monodrama for soprano and piano. And now, there are many ways to define monodrama. One definition is a single actor performing a story arc, meaning a dramatic piece meant for one performer. Another definition is one dramatic character using speech, alternating short passages of music, sometimes speaking over the music. You'll find that this performance more closely resembles the latter. It's one character, spoilers, it's Emily Dickinson, and she is alternating between speech and song. This work is the result of a collaborative effort by Stephen Lebetkin, the composer, and Amy Drake, the librettist. The text for this work is taken from selections of Emily Dickinson's envelope poems, fragmentary texts Dickinson wrote in the last 15 years or so of her life on paper envelopes that had been opened up, forming quirky geometric shapes and templates. These fragments were gathered and transcribed into a book titled The Gorgeous Nothings, edited by Marta Werner and Jen Bervin, originally published in 2012. The book includes 52 fragments presented in a series of full-scale color images, cropped to show only these oddly shaped scraps of paper, offering the reader a tantalizing glimpse at Dickinson's own hand, and providing the opportunity for much speculation, which we academics simply love. The title, Gorgeous Nothings, is an excerpt from Emily Dickinson's manuscript A821. The gorgeous nothings which compose the sunset keep. And each line, each word is written one above the other. There's no horizontal lines. And nothing in this context refers to Dickinson's fragmentary scraps of writing. Scholars believed Dickinson to have been strongly opinionated about her writing, disabusing publishers of their notions that they needed to fix her unrhymed verse, her mismetered lines, and her non-standardized punctuation. For Dickinson, who wrote a total of nearly 1,800 poems, though fewer than a dozen of those were published in her lifetime, these fragments may indeed have been little nothings, incomplete and transient. But to us tonight, this monodrama shows the transformational power of the arts. The envelope poems may not have been seen as complete, but this monodrama certainly is. And I thought I'd also share a little bit about the creators of this work. So Stephen Lebetkin is an American composer and musical descendant of the late Jewish composer Karel Rothaus, a leading early 20th century film and classical composer who immigrated to America during the Third Reich. Lebetkin studied with Gabriel Fontrier, Sol Berkowitz, and Leo Kraft, all influential individuals in American film score musical development. In his own words, Lebetkin declares his mission is to carry the torch of a great European musical composition tradition, whose roots stretch all the way back to Haydn. He is a leading advocate of work to distinguish between harmonic languages and compositional techniques across style, venues, and eras. Amy Drake is a woman of many talents and one who wears many hats. And as an avid accessorizer myself, I can appreciate a good hat when I see one. Drake is a writer and a consultant, a playwright and a public speaker, a dramaturge and a Broadway investor. She is a member of the League of Professional Theater Women, the Dramatist Guild, ASCAP, and the Theater Makers Studio. She holds master's degrees in liberal studies, English, and marketing and communications. Her contribution to the work you will hear this evening, which began as an homage to Dickinson's literary legacy, goes beyond the expressions of who the mysterious Emily Dickinson might have been in real life, in her garden, her kitchen, and her family homestead in Amherst, Massachusetts. This work is a contemplative exploration of, in her words, quote, dominant and submissive relationships, freedom of lifestyle versus healthy relationships. So how did I come across such a random piece of music? I stumbled across this work during one of the many deep dives into the recesses of social media during the relatively locked down portion of our pandemic lives. In early spring 2021, I found myself toying with the same Emily Dickinson music literature that so many singers before me have performed, researched, internalized, and celebrated. So what could I do differently in a time when universities were remote, libraries were locked, the Postal Service was not delivering, and we were sequestered in our little pandemic bubbles? Not to worry, Facebook and its devilish algorithm suggested that I might want to attend the virtual premiere of Glorious Nothings by Stephen Lebetkin and Amy Drake. Having no connection whatsoever to either of these individuals, I was intrigued solely by Emily Dickinson's name. So I attended the premiere, virtually, and I was the only participant in the Zoom room. It's a very intimate premiere, just for me. So I hope that for tonight's recital, it's special for many reasons, and I hope you'll take away a few points. The first reason why this is special is that it represents the richness of Emily Dickinson's, quote, work and psyche, and that's Steve Lebetkin's words in the program notes that he provided for the work itself. Musically, it recalls a film score tradition and the underlying Americana soundscape favored by Lebetkin and his pedagogical mentors. Also, it quotes recognizable shaker music traditions, while occasionally challenging our sense of the acoustically accessible. And I want to stress, do not worry, for those of you who are familiar with my rather eclectic musical tastes, this work will not make you run for the hills, though you will notice in the program there's no intermission, so you can't leave. And textually, it's special because it weaves together fragmentary poetic ideas while taking creative license with a dramatic representation of a literary figure known so well to so many. And just a moment of truth, buckle up. My initial reaction to a large portion of this work, especially the monologues, was that of anger. Because how dare this woman, Amy Drake, I'm sure she's lovely, make such assumptions about Dickinson, my goddess of the terse verse and fragmented descriptors. She is the Amherst myth. She's untouchable and majestic. Yet, as I lived with the libretto and the score, I came to realize the gift that this work was. It's just one interpretation of who Emily Dickinson, the woman, might have been. You or I may agree or disagree with the voice that Drake has given Dickinson in this context, but we can appreciate the scholarship and expression that it took to craft a figure from family archives, folklore, and fragments of material culture from a century past. And finally, I'll add that tonight's performance is also special for one very personal reason. This is the only portion of my multi-year dissertation project which has had a live audience. So thank you so much for being here to share this moment with me. We're going to strike this part of the stage and then return and make some music.